if you're super brand new to handstands, the first piece of advice I would give you is to take it slow. Imagine someone who has never walked on their feet their entire life and all of a sudden trying to do exactly that. Not only will they probably fall doing it, and all of their muscles and joints around their legs, feet, ankles will probably hurt like hell. So when you try to stay on your hands the first time, you're gonna feel pain in different parts of the body you never even knew existed. Second piece of advice, don't expect fast results. Handstands are hard, and depending on what your level of fitness is, it might take you somewhere between a month all the way up to a few years to get any substantial results. So don't think that you're gonna nail a handstand after just a few days, because the chances are you won't. Learn and train every single day. That's the only path to good results in handstands. Another way to get good results is to subscribe to my channel. Because if you're watching this video, the chances are you're a beginner, and I have tons of beginner videos that will help you kickstart your handstand journey. There are just tons of bad information out there from the internet that are just copy and pasted from bad sources and just repeat what other people say, but don't really know what they mean. But what I'm talking about are all from my own personal experience and also technique passed down by my coaches and teachers. So you know you're getting legit information on this channel. Hit like and subscribe. All right, so before we do any sort of handstands, we're gonna start with some stretches. 3 stretches to be exact. And these are really the bare bone minimum basic stretches. To give you some context, I stretch about 60 minutes each time before I do any handstands. Why stretch? Because if your body is not flexible enough to go into those positions that you're gonna ask your body to go into, then you simply won't make it. And that's not because of bad technique or execution. That's because your body is too tight and it won't be happy getting into those positions easily. So stretch every single time before you start training. With stretches, we're gonna start with hamstrings. We're always gonna be kicking up in the beginning, and it's better if your hamstrings are a little bit more flexible so that when you kick up, you're not gonna feel it so much in your legs. Let's begin. So we can start with standing, just feet about hips width apart. And then from here, we can fold, and for now you can touch the floor or can hold opposite elbows and just go up and down. You want to really lock your knees and straighten your legs as much as you can, and you really want to feel it here in the back of your legs. So when you feel like your hamstrings are more warmed up, then you can stay a little bit more stationary. Perhaps you can go side to side, up and down. Just take it a little bit slower. The idea is you want to open all the sides of your hamstring, and then eventually you can hold on to the back of your legs, and you want to keep your back straight. You don't want to round your back here. Just look down in the space where between your toes, a little bit more in front. Keep your back straight, lift your chin, and you want to fold your belly to your chest. Your belly to your thighs. And then really try to fold as deep as you can without rounding your back. And if you feel better, then you can bring your feet together, and basically we do the same thing. But when your feet are together, it will be a little bit of a deeper stretch. So you can spend anywhere from a minute to 3 minutes here, and you can do up to 1 to 3 sets each time. As long as your hamstrings feel open, then you can move on to the next progression. And in our shoulder stretch, we want to use the wall. So basically, we just want to use the wall to create this overhead shoulder mobility so that we can lift our arms overhead when we are in a handstand without arching our back. So we can place our hands onto the wall, feet about 2 to 3 feet away from the wall, Slide your hands slightly lower, straighten the arms as much as you can, and I want you to lean forward here. So you feel the stretch in your shoulders, your deltoids more specifically. You can pulse forward and back in the beginning. I would stay here for 10-15 seconds, just pulsing forward and back, just to kind of warm up your shoulders. And then you can lean forward and stay in one place. Make sure you keep both shoulders even, so you're not leaning on one side heavily over the other. Both shoulders are getting equal treatment. And as you go further, you want to lean forward more and more. Important that you keep your lower back straight here, so avoid arching your lower back like this because you're not going to feel too much in your shoulders. Make sure your lower back is engaged and keep it as neutral as you can, and then you lean forward towards the wall. You can look down to the floor. If your head is touching the wall, then you can go a little bit lower and increase the angle. So I would do this for about 1 minute, and after a minute you can slowly come out and release. So the last stretch we're going to do is the wrist stretch. So with the wrist stretch, we basically have our hands about shoulder width apart, fingers pointing forward. We go forward and back. You just want to shift your weight from front to back repeatedly. You just want to feel that your wrists are warming up. You have weight on your hands. You can draw circles, half circles. And then we can move your wrists to the inside, fingers turning out. You can shift your weight from side to side. Then you can also flip your palms up, fingers pointing to the middle. We'll slowly lean side to side again. And then finally, you can shift your fingers towards your knees, start in the front and slowly lean to the back. And then we can bring our hands together and just roll your wrists counterclockwise and clockwise until you feel like your wrist has warmed up. So now that our body is more open, we can finally go onto our hands. We're gonna start from the super beginner level, so feel free to skip this part if you see fit. A lot of times beginners have a hard time just climbing up to the wall, so if this is you, then this will be perfect. So we start far away from the wall in the beginning, and then we just bring one foot up, and then you push with the shoulders as much as you can, and then you bring the other foot up. Basically, we're just resisting the floor and the wall. So we have this two things going on here, and we just want to stay here. You can have your knees bent, it's fine. You can stay here and push tall with the shoulders. And if this is good enough, then stay here for 5 to 10 seconds. Good, and come down like that. All right, so if that one's good, again, you might spend a few days here, a few weeks here. Depends on how often you train, how much you train each time. But obviously the more the merrier. So if you've gotten past this stage, then we can do basically the same thing. Again, when you push down to the floor with your shoulders, not just the arms, and then you can plant your feet up into the wall. Once your feet or toes are on the wall, then next one, let's straighten the legs here. So let's try to get a stack with your hips on top of your shoulders. And again, we want to lengthen the shoulders here, push the floor away from you, eyes looking down to the floor between your fingers. And again, stay here 5 to 10 seconds. And then slowly bend your knees and come back down. At this stage, everything you do is going to be heavy. This one in particular, it's going to feel super heavy because you're not stacked. Most of the time when you're far from the wall, you're going to feel a lot of the weight because your center of gravity is being spread apart. A lot here on the wall, a lot here on the floor. So you're not here or there. So to get it easier, you want to walk further closer to the wall. So if you can do the same thing just with a little closer to the wall, it would make it a lot easier, like this. So before I start it around here, let's start a little closer. Again, same thing, push. I just stay here like this. So now it's a little bit lighter. I don't have to straighten all the way this time, and I'm already stacked. And that should feel a little bit lighter. So keep pushing, keep yourself stacked, keep your eyes between your fingers, between your thumbs. Good. When you're ready, just come down. When you come down, maintain the push in your shoulders, because if not, everything might just collapse. So for the next one, we're gonna kick up to the wall. Previously, we did a hold where we went straight for the quote-unquote hold without going up, but now we have to go up from standing. So a lot of times this will be really intimidating for beginners because you don't know what's gonna happen when you flip yourself upside down. All of a sudden, you're in this new space, and it's really, really scary because you never know what's gonna happen next because you never tried it before. So we're gonna take it step by step, but the main thing is you wanna keep the technique nice and clean. All right, so we're gonna kick up to the wall. So I like to start standing like this so I can have more space to come in and push. But for now, I would just start a little bit lower, hands still off the floor, but just hovering above. So the ideal situation is you want to come up and kick all the way up like this. But reality is it's not going to happen for most of you. So we're going to keep the technique clean. So front leg is going to bend, back leg is hopping, and then we just want to come up maybe a third for now. So the idea is you want to spend more time on your hands. So we don't just pop up and down like this. We want to spend a little bit more time on our hands, even if you can't come up. Because the more time you spend on your hands, the more air time you have, the more you're gonna get that weight into your shoulders and build that strength and control. All right, so the front leg, whichever that is, could be left leg or right, it's gonna bend in the beginning and it's gonna push down to the floor. Once it extends, both legs straighten and they create this half circle in the back. So they don't bend again, because once it bends again, then you're gonna lose all the momentum and all that inertia. So once the legs straighten, they wanna stay straight, and then it's time to transfer that weight onto your hands. So again, front leg bends, straightens, push. So when you push, you keep leaning your weight into your hands, and that's how you can have more hang time and air time. And eventually, when you can push more and legs go higher, you can go higher and higher. So in the beginning, don't worry about going up first, just worry about having the weight on your hands and pushing with your shoulders, and finally straightening the legs towards the back. So let's just go with a third. Do the other leg. A third. And one more time, a third. All right, when you have a third down, let's go halfway. When the legs come up, the feet point and they keep extending. Because if you don't extend the legs up, if you don't point the feet, once they pop up, they're just gonna pop right back down. So it's like raising your hand. Once you raise it, you keep it raised. Same thing with the legs. Legs are super important because they are the highest point of your body. And then if you don't maintain them high enough, they will start dropping and they will drag your entire body out of the handstand. So once you have a third or even half, let's just go for the whole thing. We go all the way up, but when we go all the way up, you want to aim for lightness and control so that we're not destroying the wall or whatever's in front of you, okay? It's all about timing. If you time your momentum well, you're not going to touch the wall that hard, if at all. So once you have this part down, let's do this. We come up and we stay here, touch the wall. Let's stay here for 10 seconds. And this stage, we're just trying to build the strength. So when we are touching the wall, we're not leaning on it like this. We're just keeping the weight nice and even into our shoulders. So we really want to be at the edge of falling. After 10 seconds. So we're trying to build the strength, we're trying to build the time. The more time you have using the right parts of your body, the right muscles to hold even with the wall, the more you're going to understand how the balance works and what to engage to initiate it. So I would hold here 10-15 seconds. You can do somewhere between 1 to 5 sets every single day. And also make sure you take care of the alignment. Make it as best as you can. If you have a phone, bring it to the side. Film yourself every single time just to see what you look like in your alignment, and if you're arching or piking or if you're doing the right thing, then you should keep doing that. And then in our last and final drill, we're gonna try to balance off the wall with the help of the wall. So when we're trying to balance, we're actually not really balancing for a long time. It's more just 1 second, which technically isn't really balance. You're just having your feet together at the right place at the right time, and then we reset and then we try again. So ideally we just want to have our legs understand where the center is so that we can bring them together. If you can do that over and over again, then extending the balance time will not be too difficult. Let's get to it. So how do we start? We kick up, touch the wall first, and then from here you make sure that your whole body is engaged and you feel pretty balanced. The weight is in the center of your palms, not towards the wrists or towards the fingers too much. And from there you bring your feet together, and the feet, the toes, they touch. Everything touches. 1 second, and then you come back. 1 second, and then you open again. 1 second, and then you open again. So obviously I did more than just 1 second on a few attempts, but with you it might look a little different. So it's just about finding the feet together for a second and then knowing that you're gonna fall the next second because you don't have any experience holding it here, and then initiating back to the split position just so that we can continue. So don't expect to hold any longer than that 1 second. Expect yourself to be falling. So we can almost hack into the fall and then stay up just by touching the wall again. Let me demonstrate that one more time. So feet together and then just open. Feet together and then just open. Kind of force it in the beginning if you have to. Feet together, hold, and open again. Feet together, hold, and open again. Feet together, hold, and open again. Because with handstands, it's all about predicting our patterns. And if we know that we're gonna fall and not make it the very next second after our feet connects, then it's a good idea to carve our own path and just open it back out and then bring it together one more time instead of falling, which is always something that we don't want. So if we can stay up, we stay up. So those would be some excellent drills that you can do just to get your body and mind conditioned to the idea of being upside down on your hands. Besides the physical aspect, handstands can be super mental. When most people start out, they're scared more than anything else of all the unknowns and being upside down on your hands. So hopefully these progressions can help people like yourself that are out there watching this at a very beginner stage. I'll say it again, take it super slow. Depending on how often you train, each progression can take weeks before moving on to the next progression. So expect a grind. And most of all, just enjoy the process. If you guys have any other questions, please let me know in the comments. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.